Wonderful. So welcome everyone for coming today to our second day of International Women's Day. So thanks everyone. Happy Women's Day to everyone. If you weren't here yesterday, making sure. Today our question is going to be, what are the biggest challenges of being a woman in business in your country? Carol and I are going to introduce all of these lovely ladies here in just a moment. So moving on to what to expect the rest of the week, we are going to have day 3, which will be tomorrow, and we're going to focus on what was a major transformation point in your life and how did you grow from it. And our speakers are going to be Firuza Fuzilova and Julia Mitsuzvosa, I mess her up every time, Nisha Tadiki. We're going to have Abby Cornell of the UK and Aruna Ramamurthy. And then on day 4, we're going to talk about balancing life, our health and wellness. And I think everybody needs this one, right? We all need some tips here. So some of our speakers on day 4 are going to be Nina from France, Monica Groom from South Africa, Amita Ghosh from India, Maria from Finland, and Havana. And I saw Havana here today. She is from Brazil, now living in the US. So we're going to hear from them. And then day 5, we're just going to have a final celebration that we're going to talk about everything that we took away from this week. What did we and share some of our biggest secrets. So we do have a short video that we're going to show that came from about 6 or 7 different women around the world. But again, I just want to thank everyone for being a part of this. It's really fun to actually be with women from truly around the world, hearing what it's like to be in different places and having different successes. Maybe the most important about Friday, though, is that you should be here because you have to be present to win. And we have some really cool door prizes. So we have a book from Miss Tonya McNeal-Weary, who's speaking today. We have another book from Maritza Casarelli speaking today. Monica Groom is giving an image consultation. Nina is giving away wellness products. Carol is giving free membership to Beautiful Faces Going Places. I'm giving the free LinkedIn strategy session, a private one. So some of these are worth hundreds of dollars, and we really hope to see you guys there. And then with that, I am going to give this back to Carol because I just wanted to do the brief run through of what to expect for the week. And we are going to do a small introduction today that Carol is going to facilitate. That is just name and country, and then get on to some of our panelists talking about challenges of being a woman doing business in your country.
All right.
So Carol, up to you.
Well, thank you so much, Angie. I just want to say I so appreciate you. I don't know about all of you. Yesterday was just an amazing day, celebrating International Women's Day. And I've got to say, I got a little choked up a couple of times and emotional just because just seeing the power of women gathered together, even if it is via Zoom, online, really empowering, inspiring, supporting and encouraging one another was just amazing yesterday. Having us all share the women in our lives who have empowered us in some shape or form, whether it was personally or professionally, was just amazing. And I want to give a shout out to Angie Snowball Thompson. I don't know if I gave her enough credit yesterday, and just sharing my gratefulness of having her in my life and to saying yes to this opportunity to co-host and create something pretty spectacular and special, even if it is our first time working together. But this is really an amazing opportunity, an amazing event. And I just want to say thank you, Angie, for all that you do, for helping us create this special event. And so what we are going to do next is we're going to go around the Zoom room, and I would love for you to introduce yourself, really 2 things, your name and your country. And that'll kick off our event. And then we're going to move into our topic of panel discussions with our speaker panelists. So for now, I'm going to pass the baton to Päivi, and it's go time. Päivi.
Päivi Lihola, Finland.
Diana.
Diana from Lithuania. Hello.
Wendy. And you are on mute, my friend.
Yes. Wendy Holloway from Rome, Italy.
All right, Deborah.
Deborah Burkhardt from the United States.
Maritza,
Maritza Coscarelli, USA.
and Tonya.
Yes, hi, Tonya McNeal-Weary, United States.
Awesome. And Jane.
Jane Egerdeen, United States.
Marianne Chadbourne.
Hi, Marianne Chadbourne. I'm from the United States. Hi.
Liz.
Liz Hawkes from South Africa.
And Grace.
Grace is
Ruth.
muted.
Hi, everyone. Ruth Medlin, United States.
Grace. How about Ravana?
Rivana Bruseno from Brazil.
And we have Grace Richardson. She is coming to us from California. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for day 2 of International Women's Day Celebration Week Summit. And I'm super excited now to kick off our main program. And we're going to start with our first speaker panelist. And she is a confidence and public speaking coach, keynote speaker, former professional dancer. She helps guide her clients who are speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs to build your business speaking, gain more confidence, become a better leader, and step into the highest version of yourself that you dare to imagine. Please help me welcome Maritza Coscarelli with MC Coaching.
Thank you very much, Carol. Buongiorno, buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I am in the United States of America, but I am the daughter of immigrants from the Dominican Republic and the wife of an Italian stallion. And with that, I have had a very big multicultural influence in my career, in my business, and in my life. I have traveled the world from the age of 18, touring the United States and Europe. I have gone from living the dream to a living nightmare. When I signed my first professional contract with Ballet Hispanico of New York, I really thought I had arrived. I had prepared from age 4 and on scholarship from age 12, and I found myself in the depths of depression, self-doubt, and negativity, to the point where here I was, 80s in New York City, and my friends, dance partners and teachers were leaving, transitioning out of their bodies due to the AIDS epidemic. I was living on my own, and I had been very overprotected by a Napoleonic little Latino dad who liked his alcohol. Often I was locked in my room to keep me still and quiet, and eventually I lost my voice. All I could feel in my throat when I knew the answers or wanted to ask a question was a golf ball pressing against my esophagus. It's been a long healing journey. And through that journey, a 34-year marriage, raising 2 productive, kind, wonderful, and creative adult children, I have learned not only to heal my mind, body, and soul, but I have learned and believe deeply that you are capable beyond your imagination. You are resilient, stronger, and braver than you can think of. And that the only thing really that holds us back is us holding back. And so in my now proprietary system, Mastering Authentic Confidence and Communication, that converts. I am helping women find their voices, their visibility, their vital energy to be the change makers we are in these bodies to be. We are not here to dream small, and sometimes living the dream is easily becoming a nightmare because it all begins in the integration of your whole self, your mind, your body, your soul. Yes, I'm a speaking coach, but I've had a unique experience that allows me to love my clients, to get clear on them loving their message, loving the people they get to share it with, to clarify what they believe, what values, morals drive them, and why they're even doing what they're doing or maybe not doing it. And finally, I know how to play the long game, and I want you all to play the long game with me. This is not a sprint. If we are in these businesses, these lives, these relationships, these countries to make a difference, it's a marathon. And the only thing that matters is that we feel good first so that we can do good. I ask you to keep in touch with me, to take me up on my free call, and to spend a little time clarifying more than ever your message and your confidence so that you can carry it worldwide. Thanks so much for having me, Carol.
Oh my gosh, wow, was that impactful and very powerful. To have lost your voice and then to have found it, and now to help others finding their voice authentically and not being afraid to shine their light and going forward in life with confidence. So thank you so much, Maritza. So appreciate you. That was amazing.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I just want to transparently say that I had prepared slides, you all, and I was sweaty palms. Here I am, a professional speaker, paid to speak. Sweaty palms that I was going to go without slides. But if we all just trust and listen to ourselves as women, we are supported beyond earthly power, and you will say what you need to say bravely.
Thank you so much. You are amazing. Thank you, Maritza.
Thank you for having me back, Carol, Angie, for all the work you did to do this. And it's such a pleasure to meet all of you beautiful faces. So let it go to the next speaker, next panelist.
Thank you so much. Actually, Mo is not here. I'm trying to reach her. It's very, very unlike her not to be somewhere. So I'd kind of like to throw a little prayer in there for her. And we're going to move on to Diana for right now. So I have the pleasure of introducing this amazing woman that I ran into through another networking group. Her name is Diana Blazaitiene. Oh, darn it, Diana, I was really going to do it. Diana Soprana. I really have practiced her name and I just can't get it right. Blazaitiene, I'm getting closer. She's from Lithuania, and I am happy to say that she's way more than a network person. I am just amazed by her. She owns 3 different businesses, Soprano Personnel, and works with MiniBoss brand, which is really interesting. She's also a very active leader of the BNI network. If you're familiar with BNI, we recently had this video contest of yourself and sharing how powerful international networking has been for you. And there are 275,000 members in BNI. Not everyone submitted, but she still came in the top 10. That's how wonderful a person she is and how empowering she can be. So Diana, thank you so much for joining us. And I would like you to tell us all about you and what it's like to be a woman in business in Lithuania.
Thank you. And you did pronounce my surname correctly. So first of all, when I was still in my last university year, I could choose to either write my final thesis or write a business plan. And of course, I chose to write a business plan. So I did write a business plan about personnel rent company called Soprana. And my goal was to earn 1 million in profit in the first year. So I was so optimistic, 22 years old girl. And when I graduated and of course successfully defended my business plan, my father, he was insisting that I should try and implement it in real life, not only leave it in paper. So I did. And then half a year happened what I was totally not ready. My clients, my primary idea was to rent personnel employment services for companies in Norway. And what happened after half a year, that suddenly within 2 weeks, my client suddenly went bankrupt. And I had people staying in there. I had to cover all the expenses, bring them back to Lithuania and pay salaries in this situation. So I remember myself that being in my last year of starting a business, being a student and having a huge amount to be paid for employees and to pay for expenses. And when clients go bankrupt, you are totally so not ready for that. And at that moment, I did not have any network. My group mates, they were you know, still studying. They were looking for some jobs. My parents are not in this kind of business at all. And I did not have anybody to talk to. And I was even thinking that, for example, to hire a lawyer, it's very expensive. So at that moment, I was feeling helpless, hopeless. And I remember myself that I was laying in bed, watching TV and thinking that I will not be able to move, you know. But at some point I met a wonderful coach, and that happened 14 years ago. And she helped me to stand up and believe in myself again. She asked me, do you want to go back and do you want to work for someone, or do you want to create your future again? And of course, this question helped me to answer myself that I am a fighter and that I want to go forward. I want to fight for what I believe in. I want to be responsible. I want to create jobs for other people. I want to change the way that business is done. And so I moved forward, and then I succeeded again. Of course, it was a long road, and this time I had more experience. I was rich with it. And I knew that I can not only win, but I can also fail. And that's my treasure, because I already had this lesson. Later on, I opened a company called North Baltic Solutions, and because I learned that you should not be keeping eggs in one basket, you know, and you should have different activities, that you should divide the risks and split the risks. So it was my goal to diversify the services and the companies and protect myself in this way. So, and later on, it happened that with the help of BNI, I found out about possibility of opening MiniBoss children business schools. And I opened it also internationally, not only in Lithuania, but also in Latvia, which as a result was the reason why I have submitted the video for the Thank You Networking Week contest, and it was selected because it was about the result that the networking has brought to me. So being a woman in our country, now I see it's about supporting each other. This is the reason why I'm launching a women-only chapter, so that they would feel more safer in being surrounded with each other, so that they could share their thoughts, ideas, and experiences more openly, and implement the ideas faster, because that's what women can do. They implement the idea from the thought of it, you know, in a very short time. So I want now to be the person that somebody might need when I needed the same person when I was young. So hopefully that these opportunities that I'm having in BNI, I can use to grow other leaders and help them achieve their goals. So thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I love what you're doing, and I love how you really focus on empowering women. And something that really took away from that is I want to be there for people who needed someone like me then. I think it's wonderful that you're there to do that right now. So thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your story. So Carol is going to do the next introduction to a lovely lady that is also here with us today.
Yes, so I am super excited to introduce our next panelist, whom I actually met online. Thank you, virtual world. I think there is a silver lining in all of what has been happening here post 2020. So Tonya McNeal-Weary is a multi-award-winning entrepreneur, international business expert, world traveler, author, and global champion for women's economic empowerment. She is the founder and managing director of IBS Global Consulting, Inc., a global management consulting firm that specializes in helping small and medium-sized companies expand into international markets. She is also a recently published author on Amazon of Women Going Global. So please help me welcome Tonya.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so honored to be here and to share a little bit about my journey and challenges for women entrepreneurs and women in business in America. So yes, I do run a global management consulting firm, which is a male-dominated industry. And through my work, I have traveled to countries all around the world. Also in 2003, I started a nonprofit organization, Michigan Association for Female Entrepreneurs. And I started the organization at the time because I had recently moved to Detroit from Chicago, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a network or a support system. And here I was in a new city and starting a business. And I didn't know anyone, didn't know where to go for the resources that I needed to start my business at the time. And so I thought to start this organization for women entrepreneurs that will kind of serve as that support system where women aspiring entrepreneurs could come together and share ideas and be a support system. And so this year, the organization is actually going into its 18th year. It just grew into something so much more than I had ever dreamed. And I found that a lot of women shared some of the same challenges as I did. And so it was really great to have that support system and to network and to share ideas. So through my work with my consultancy and working with my nonprofit, one of the things I noticed is that there were not a lot of women that was engaged in international business. And my business, as you mentioned, focuses on helping primarily small companies think global and expand internationally. But why was it that there was not a lot of women in that space? So I would travel to various trade events and be part of different trade missions. And most of the time, I found that I was the only female in the room. There was just not a lot of women at, during that time that was doing global business. So about 4 years ago, I said that I wanted to do something about that. We need more women engaged in trade, because one of the challenges for women in America is that a lot of the industries here are saturated. That means that there's growing competition, and it's really difficult to get your brand out there with so many other entrepreneurs doing the same thing. And so what I'm trying to really do is encourage more women to think global and to expand their businesses beyond their local borders. And so about 4 years ago, I started a program where I would take a delegation of women entrepreneurs to countries around the world to help expose them to new markets. And it went over very, very well. So in 2018, I led my first all-female delegation to Dubai, UAE. And then in 2019, I led a delegation, all-female delegation to Bangkok, Thailand. And then in March of 2020, just before COVID, right before all hell broke loose, we were able to travel to Cairo, Egypt. And part of the delegation, and these are week-long trips, and the focus of the delegation is to expose women to international business opportunities, open up new markets for women where they can sell their products and their services on a global scale. So for the whole week, we would attend meetings. We would meet with the local chambers of commerce. We meet with the embassies, we meet with local women entrepreneurs, and we learn about the challenges in their countries. And what I found out is that no matter how far apart our worlds are, as women, we actually experience a lot of the same challenges. So I hear the same stories no matter what country I'm in. Access to capital, that is one of the biggest challenges that women worldwide we face, access to capital. Access to resources. And it's not really about the resources themselves, is you just don't know what you don't know and how to access those resources that are available. So part of my work and being a global champion for women's economic empowerment is making sure that women know, number one, they know about the resources that's available. And then number two, how do you access those resources and utilize them to benefit you and your business? So that's a lot of the work work that I do in addressing some of the challenges that we as women face. And one of the other biggest challenges I see with women is the lack of self-confidence. And that is because as women, I feel that we have to work twice as hard as our male counterparts to get the recognition or to prove our worth. We have to do so much more than men to really prove ourselves. And a lot of times women are just not taken seriously. And so because of that, a lot of women lack the self-confidence. They don't know their worth. They're not charging their worth. They settle for less than what they deserve. And those are some things that we as women, we really need to work on. You really need to know your worth, stand your ground. When you show up in that room, when you show up to that meeting, you show up ready, you show up confident, and you let them know that you are serious. And so that's some of the things we really need to work on. And I think it's not just an American issue. I think women all over the world can relate to that. And so those are just some of my experiences. So some of the key takeaways is just really knowing your worth, charging your worth, and not settling for less, and open up your minds to open up your mind to new opportunities. Again, my book, I'll do a shameless plug. So my book, that'll be, we'll have a free giveaway on Friday, but just to give you just a quick 30-second about the book, Women Going Global is real life stories of women entrepreneurs doing business across borders. Because once I started expanding my network and expanding my reach, I started meeting more and more women who were doing business internationally and who were experiencing some of the same challenges as me. So I thought it would be great to put these stories in a book that can inspire other women, that regardless of the challenges that you may face, you can achieve whatever it is your mind and your heart set out to achieve. Anything is possible, and do not believe anyone who tell you it's not, because I've been told that I couldn't run a global management consulting firm because I'm a woman, but yet I started my company from the very basement of my house where I am sitting right now, from my home basement. I started my global management consulting firm with 20 consultants across 4 continents and 30 different partners all around the world. So do not think that because you're a small business or that because you work from home that you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. It can be done. It has been done. And I encourage you to pick up this book, Women Going Global, and read some of the stories of the women who have done it and the challenges that they had to overcome, but they did overcome. So thank you once again. It's been great. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you, Tonya. I love this story. And I tell you, ladies, one thing that rung true with me, we do not charge our worth. Right? We complain that we didn't get paid our worth, and now we are our own bosses most of the time, and we still don't charge our worth. So much of what you said was great, Tonya. Thank you. I'm going to pass it back to Carol again for our last, but certainly not least, speaker of the day, Miss Wendy.
Yes, I just want to say, Tonya, thank you so much for sharing that powerful message. And you're absolutely right. I think the same challenges, it doesn't matter where you live, the same challenges exist for women in business around the world. You know, access to capital, access to resources. And I think what really hit me home is your last bit where you shared whatever the woman can conceive or believe, it can achieve. So believe in yourself and just go for it. Go global. Thank you so much, Tonya. And I am super, super pumped to introduce our next panelist speaker. Wendy and I actually go way back, a long way, 15 plus years ago. I always say that expat friends are lifetime friends. Wendy is one of the first individuals that I met when I first arrived in Rome, Italy to live for 5 years. And I remember attending this this in-person event for women, just networking. And she was wearing a beautiful pair of red leather jeans. And I And she welcomed me, and she wrapped her arms around me and welcomed me to the community in Rome. And I said, I cannot wait to get to know this woman. So she is just amazing. Let's see. So Wendy, she is a leader, a connector, an expat advocate in Rome, Italy, American International Club and Canadian Club of Rome member and leader. I believe she held office in both of those chapters. And I just want to say she is just amazing. She is a podcast host and of Flavor of Italy. It is a special program and show all about all things Italy, food, travel, and leisure, lifestyle guide for all things Italy. So please help me welcome my dear friend, Wendy Holloway.
Thank you so much, Carol, and so fun to be here. And well, let me first talk about the challenges of doing business in Italy. And there are many. There was a recent Financial Times, or maybe it was in Forbes, article about Italy and women and their situation. And women, the situation is characterized by both traditionally high gender gaps in the labor market and conservative gender roles. So that's what we're facing here. There are some very high-powered women in the market. There's the astrophysicist Fabiola Gianotti from the CERN, which is an organization of nuclear research. We have a woman astronaut, Samantha Cristoforetti. We all know the designer Prada, it's Minuccia Prada. But the fact of the matter is, there aren't that many women in high-powered jobs. And recently, to address this, because it's an issue that is everyone is aware of, politicians have taken steps towards creating or revising a law that stipulates that women must comprise at least 40% of listed company boards of directors. And that's up from 30% of about 5 years ago. So that's an improvement. It's been really exacerbated in Italy, and I think lots of other countries as well, by COVID, because there's such a sense of family in Italy, which is wonderful. But when you get back in your family context, because you're not working, the traditional role of the woman taking over the household activities falls back into place. In fact, even when women are working under normal circumstances, there aren't that many entities available for childcare, because that usually about 40% falls in the hands of grandparents. And I'm a grandma, so sometimes I'm one of those people as well. I'm on both sides of the fence, let's say. So I'm listening to all of you women and seeing all of you women, I include myself, we have decided to become entrepreneurs in our field and to reach out and do our own thing. But unfortunately, lots of women aren't in a position to do that. And certainly, I probably think I could say that's true worldwide. You might not have, for whatever reason, and capital is one of you had, Tonya, you had talked about capital, but some women just don't have the ways and the means to get started. So what I would say is, we as women who feel empowered and have launched ourselves out on our own, we've got to reach out and find ways to help these women who might not even want to have their own business. They might prefer to be, let's say my daughter's a teacher, but to find maybe a different teaching job. Or you might know someone in a corporation who you could, because of connections we have made as business leaders, we could help them out in that sense. So I think it's very important that outside of thinking of ourselves as entrepreneurs, to think about how we can help each other, you know, women to women, in whatever kind of a work structure we would see women in. So that's super important. I did a recent podcast interview with Michelin star chef here in Rome, and Christina Bowerman, and she's actually very tied into the Austin, Texas culinary world. But one of her big things is, as a successful female chef, to get involved in initiatives, because she's a powerhouse woman, to help other women out. That's so absolutely fundamental and important, I think. And especially in cultures, I don't know what other countries are represented on the different days, but when you're thinking about more Latin-focused countries where the family structure means that the woman is responsible for the family. You know the deal. I don't have to say it, but those we really have to help women in those situations. So I'm older than probably all of you, and I think, and I've been interviewed on lots of forums, podcasts, and so forth. I started my podcast a year ago. In fact, actually, this very day is my 52nd episode. So 52 weeks in a year. It's 1 year that I've done it every week. And it's something that I really love doing. But I've started to network a lot with different women through the podcast and through different platforms that it's important for us all to take advantage of. Okay, well, of course, what Carol is doing is a fabulous initiative and a great way for women to connect. Instagram, which quite frankly, the engagement and so forth drives me crazy a lot of times, but I've made so many wonderful connections and wonderful friends where there's been, you know, mutual and reciprocal help with each other professionally. It's so important. And now I don't know how many of you are aware of Clubhouse, which is a fairly new social media platform, but that's another great way to, you know, whatever you're trying to do or to learn, find some kind of a topic that will help you. Because basically, if you decide to launch yourself out, as I did at past retirement age, there's an uphill on the technological and internet side, and we really have to reach out and educate one another. And if you're deciding to start out and launch and you don't know how to do whatever it is, a plugin for your website, or how do I edit a podcast, or whatever it is, I think there's not a darn thing that you can't find multiple videos on YouTube. So really take advantage of the internet. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that we can do things ourselves and learn things ourselves. And I guess my final thing is, don't ever think that, oh, well, I'm retiring, or I'm this, I can't do that. That's should be 3 words or 4 words that never come out of your mouth. You can do anything at any age, really anything at any age, and you have to reach out to other women. If you're feeling you can't, reach out.
Yes, absolutely, Wendy. Grazie tante. Thank you so much. Grazie mille. Trying to remember my Italian here. I'm a little rusty, but Wendy, you are amazing. I am so grateful that you came and you shared your insights, and you're absolutely right. We shouldn't assume that all women need support also at a corporate level, or assume that they're establishing or wanting to run a business. They may need support in their current jobs or in their current workforce, if they're employed. And I love how you shared about culture as well, because I think in different countries, there is a culture essence there, and what's normal, what's standard, and even role playing in different countries. And I like you understand the Italian culture, and a lot of times the shift is on the woman taking care of not only work, but home life and family life and the household and the children, and that can just be so much, and women need support in so many ways. So Wendy, thank you so much, and congratulations on 52 weeks, 1 year with your Flavor of Italy podcast show. You are amazing. I so appreciate you. Thanks a million.
Thanks.
All right. Go ahead, Angie.
Great minds think alike. We even say the same words.
Yes.
I was just going to say that those are our speakers for the day. So thanks, ladies, for sharing what it's like, the challenges in your countries. And we're going to open it up for questions. So does anyone have any questions for a particular speaker about business in their country? And we do have people on here from other countries as well. Päivi's from Finland. Who else I saw on here? So if you have any questions, please unmute yourselves and feel free to ask away.
I know this is our opportunity to just open up the floor and open it up for Q&A and ask our speakers anything. And really, we just want to have a dialogue. So we had 4 phenomenal speakers sharing their insights on women in business in their countries around the globe. And this is, I think we've got a lot to discuss here. So we're going to open up the floor. And Angie, would you mind to stop the screen share, and we'll just open up the floor. There we go.
Perfect. One of the other areas too, I think, in addition to, I'm so sorry I was late. I have overlapping meetings like crazy this week. I want to come every day, but I have overlapping meetings, and I have to mention on Friday, I'm not sure if we're able to make it. I think our speaker from Italy talked about a grandparent. I am, and she says she may be one of the older women. I'd like to know how old you are, because I don't want to go for the oldest category. But there are some of us who will never get old, but I will be with my grandchildren on Friday, 2 and 4, so I don't know if I'll be able to attend.
I'm 68. I'll share. I have no issue whatsoever of saying my age. I'm 68.
Wendy, I'm 72. I'll be 73 this month. And I'm a very young 73-year-old. I think I'm going on 42. Another area for women that need expansion, opportunity, awareness is women in politics, women just in the legislative assemblies, not even just in politics, but in legislative assemblies, where you see a country where women are really struggling to get ahead, to get recognized in areas of business. You can almost be sure they're probably not well represented legislatively as well. And that happens to include the United States. I mean, we can go rah all we want about the increasing number of women we see in Congress, and how many are—
Betty, that's a really good point. But we do want to stay focused on business today.
Okay.
And I did have a question. I did have someone ask a question. So Diana raised her hand. Diana, did you have a question?
I did. I wanted to ask Wendy, what is the hardest thing to start a podcast? What was hardest?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I had my equipment, my microphone, recording, really nice equipment for about 3 years before I did it. Because I think the hardest thing is finding your voice and finding your style. And I did a number of recordings, and my daughter, who's a 33-year-old teacher now, she would listen and say, "Ma, if that's the way it's going to sound, I won't be listening, because it would sound too school marmy or to this and to that." So I decided I needed someone to do it with, so it could be a chatty thing. And then I realized what I'm best at is interviews. And what my passion is everything Italian, especially food and wine, but everything Italian. And I love to showcase other people. So once I got my comfort level, and so many high-end podcast consultants have said the surefire way to fail is to not start. You just have to jump right in there. That's number one. Then number two is the technical side. And I edit all my podcasts myself. I taught myself how to do it. I had a little bit of introductory help from a nephew. But again, YouTube. I mean, there's every single thing on the planet you want to learn. And whereas you look much younger than I am, probably half my age, but so when you're younger, it's much quicker. I know that it might take me 10 times longer to do something than maybe even my 5-year-old grandson, but it's just a question of plugging along. So if you want to do it, jump in the water, find your voice, and then work hard on the technical side. And if you are thinking of it and you need help, I'd love to help you, or anyone who'd like to launch a podcast.
Oh, good. I just asked that in the chat box if you'd be willing to share your suggestions for equipment, or because I talked to several of these women and we're all doing maybe not podcasts, but other things that we're probably like, what's the best equipment type of thing. So I think that would be really helpful if you have some suggestions.
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Maybe we can set up, I think we were going to do at some point, breakout rooms and things, or if we could share each other's contact information, maybe you two lovely ladies who are in charge could make a list of people interested in certain topics like that, and it would be my pleasure. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. That's exactly what we wanted to do, was bring some people that are helping each other today. So do we have anybody else that had a question? Maritza?
I don't have a question. I wanted to piggyback on some of what Wendy's saying because it's like in my wheelhouse. And I want to say this, when our thought of doing something and not doing it is the hardest part. Our thought of doing something and not doing it, because what Wendy shared is what she found out about herself and through conversation with her daughter once she was doing it. So we have an idea, studied, researched deeply, scientifically in the Confidence Code. Wonderful book, I'll highly recommend to all, and it's years old, it's not a new thinking. They interviewed women in every walk of life that were considered leaders and, GOATs, greatest of all times, athletes, politicians, I mean, you name it. And in each conversation, they were surprised to find this woman's self-doubt and lack of confidence. And then they dug deeper to how these leaders overcame that. And time and again, the thing that men, gender difference, is that they are risky, courageous, and a little full of themselves. And so they dive in knowing nothing and find out as they go. And so the start is what stops us. Me too, just as guilty, double hand raised. The start is what stops us. But I've gone from a terrible little lavalier mic. I'm not a podcaster, so don't buy the pop-up on Amazon because it's tinny and nasally. And now I've ordered a Rode, R-O-D-E, step up. But you don't learn these things unless you try or you have somebody wonderful that you ask. So really confidence and courage building is just action and learning.
Yeah, that's so true. In fact, there's an example that someone had given me. If you say to a guy, oh, do you want to play tennis? Yeah, I'm pretty good. If you say to a woman, do you want to play tennis? I guess I'm not very good, but there's always, or quite frequently, that, well, I'm not very good, I could try. There's this really arrogance, as you so well pointed out, about men, and we need to be a little bit arrogant about ourselves.
In the United States, we would say not only, no, I'm not very good. Oh, I don't have a cute tennis skirt yet. When I lose 5 pounds, you know, I mean, a million things, right? Reasons that we make excuses, because I never addressed in my talk today, but the challenges in the US, I agree with Tonya, 1,000,000%. Funding, right? Capital. Second, I had chosen image and branding. In the United States, we are a celebrity-obsessed society. And if we let our own self-image and lack of confidence and ideas about how we present stop us, we don't improve. Look at the obsession with talent shows like American Idol and watch the diamond in the rough become the superstar. It is a process. We're not going to start there. My multi-millionaire coach, when you look at her old videos just 10 years ago, in a fleece with her bowl Dorothy Hamilton haircut in a tiny apartment, now she lives in Paris, in the city of Paris. All her stuff is professionally edited. It's a process. But the third one is truly the confidence gap. The confidence gap. Go ahead, Tonya.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback off of what you said in terms of image. And because of social media and Instagram and all of that these days, I think a lot of women are intimidated because they're looking at, like, say, for example, the final product, but you don't get to see what that person went through to get to that stage. And so for a lot of women, they kind of fall back because they feel like, well, oh, I don't have this yet, or I'm not there yet. I don't have, but that person didn't have it either when they started out. And so that's, I think, one of the downsides to it. So that's another great thing about my book, is that all of these women are successful at what they do, but the book shares the stories and the struggles and what they had to go through to get to that. And I think that's why a lot of women lack the confidence, because they're looking at the final picture, that final product, but they don't understand what it took for that person to actually reach to that level and the struggles that they have to go through. And I think we need to talk about the struggles a lot more and how we can overcome those to help the next women that's coming along so that they're not intimidated.
Oh, Tonya, I think that's beautiful. That definitely needs to happen more. And you should stay tuned for my end of the week secret of success. It might be a whole lot of what you just said. I think we need to talk a lot more about how we failed and how that helps us get to where we are instead of just, you know, it does build the confidence. So
just a very quick thing. The closest place and the easiest place where we can have an influence on women and men as well is with our own children and grandchildren, and to make sure that the little girls in our life feel like they can do anything. And if you have little boys in your life, make sure that they can do all their laundry, all the classically woman tasks. Make sure that they do it and take pride in it. That's the best place that we can really work, starting off with raw material in our own homes.
Absolutely. That's a really, really amazing point. Thank you guys all so much for sharing. I'm going to hand it back over to Carol so we can wrap up the official part, but we will, breakout rooms are set for us to do some speed networking. If you'd like to hang around, we would love for you to. But Carol, do you want to say anything else before we wrap up today?
I do. I just want to say thank you so much to our amazing speakers and panelists. This was truly amazing. Tonya, what you shared about, you know, no one sees the behind the scenes. You know, everyone sees, you know, what we post on social media or Instagram, but they don't see the hard work, the strategic planning, the team that you have to work with and assemble, and everything that it takes to deliver a program or a product or service or whatever it is. They don't see that. And so I so appreciate you saying that. And I know, and I'm thinking about several of us that are older entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, as for myself, like me. You know, it's hard, you know, when you see our youth coming up and perfect pictures, and it's like, okay, that's not that's not reality, you know, but we have to put our blinders on. We have to put our blinders on and just live in our truth and be who we are and deliver something that's impactful and of value. And I always say the right people are going to hear your message, be attracted to you, and that's how it works. So thank you so much, Tonya, for sharing that insight, and Maritza for the confidence code. My daughter is reading that right now. I saw it on her desk. She's 27, and I said, can I borrow that as soon as you're finished? I need to read that as well. So thank you, Maritza, for sharing that with us. And yeah, so we are ready to wrap up our official program here and then go into breakout rooms so we can do a little bit of networking and continue this fabulous conversation with our speakers. So if you are available, the next 30 minutes will be breakout rooms. We're going to just do 2. So 10 to 15. What's that?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I actually said, Pivy and I were chatting a little bit. They're set up so that the speakers have their own rooms if they want to stick away. And you can choose your own rooms. So we're going to send you to a room. But if you see a speaker that you had a question for, you can jump into their room. And I'll hang out in the main area in case we have any questions or someone's left behind.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Pivy. Pivy from Finland will be well, hello there, Tonya.
Hi.
Hi. This is just wonderful. We have Marianne Chadbourne here joining us. I know Marianne personally. She is in the Ohio area. I think the Dayton, Ohio area. I'm actually in Greater Cincinnati, and lived in Detroit for about 3 years. I'm not sure. I graduated from the University of Detroit with my MBA, so familiar with Michigan. Love the state. And yeah, thank you so much for a very impactful presentation and sharing your experience. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it looks like Nina is here joining us. So Nina, we're just going to open up the floor here, and if you have any questions for Tonya, this is your opportunity.
Oh yeah, I mean, I checked the book while I was, you know, you got the link and so on, and I really think it's amazing. I mean, I didn't hear, I heard the end of the Tonya because I came in a little bit late today, but I mean, as you said in the end when we're chatting, do you think about the process to coming to the success? Yeah. But I think it's important because Angie took it out yesterday. We always like, no, I don't do a lot of stuff and things like that. So is there something that you heard from all these women that is a point that you can overcome this, that we feel that we're not doing anything, that we are not really good at it, and we have to improve even more, and we cannot go out there and shine as we would like to, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll share my personal, so I have a fear of public speaking. I've just always been nervous to speak to people in a group. Now, I can talk my husband ears off. That's a different story. But to talk to a group of people has always just been a fear. So I will always just kind of sit back, and I'm the quiet person. The best way to get over that, and how I got over that fear, is to do the exact thing that I'm afraid of. And that is really, truly, that's what it is. And so I started putting myself in positions where I had to speak and I had to be in the front. And the more you do it, whatever it is you don't feel like you're that good at, the only way you're going to get better at it is to do it and to keep doing it. And that's going to make you better. If you never do it, you're not going to improve it, right? And so I just started putting myself in positions where I had to speak. I threw myself on a global stage in India, and I spoke at the Women Economic Forum in front of hundreds of women, and I was so nervous. And then I spoke again in Cairo in front of hundreds of women. I've been doing Zoom events all over the place, just really putting myself out there. I'm also launching a podcast. So I've been doing more videos and just getting more comfortable talking to a camera. So the only way to really improve improve whatever it is that you feel that you're lacking, is to just do that very thing and to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more you will improve.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, but as you said, it's a good thing. I mean, I feel it the same when I'm doing out the public speaking, because I'm teaching and I'm doing a lot of networking with the BNI and so on, but it's hard. Yes, the camera is difficult, isn't it? Talking to a camera, you know?
Yes, just do set up your camera and just start talk in the mirror, just do those things, and and eventually you will get comfortable being uncomfortable, because I'm still uncomfortable, right? But I'm comfortable being uncomfortable now. So that's just what I did, and it's been working for me. And I never wrote a book before. I never wrote a book, and I think a lot of times too, as women, we're so concerned about what other people are going to think. And a lot of times that stop us too from doing something, because we're worried about what the people are going to think. And again, I think, social media it's been the best thing and it's been the worst thing that could have happened to us, because now everybody is just so opinionated and they want to comment on everything. And so we are so afraid to put our talent and our creativity out there, because we are afraid of what people are going to say and what people. I say, don't worry about that. Look at it as constructive, feedback, and just take it for what it is. And just still do what you want to do, and don't let the fear of what other people are going to think about you or it stop you from doing it.
Yes. That's where you got the point, actually. I think that's what's holding us a lot of back, of the women. Yeah, it's what people are going to think about what we're doing.
Yeah, because I go through those phases myself too, but I get over it. I'm like, oh my God, what if I write this book and nobody likes it? What if I get a bad review? Or what if I speak and they just throw tomatoes at me? And then you get over it and you just do it, and you don't worry about what people are gonna say or what people are gonna think. As long as you're happy with your end product and what you put out there, and if you just touch one person, you did a damn good job.
Exactly. I love that you shared that, Tonya, because you are so absolutely right. I think it is that fear. I think fear holds us back in so many levels. It just holds us back. And I always say, if we could just get rid of all of the distractions, everything that might be holding you back, whatever that is, if you were just to push that aside, where would you be? You would actually be unstoppable. It's like, okay, I have to live in that space. I need to live in that space. You know what? Yes, I know when I launched my company 2 years ago, I spent 2 years getting ready to get ready, investigating, watching every webinar I could possibly, and taking every program. And then finally I said, oh my gosh, you are a chamber executive professional. You have 4 years of experience growing a network with programs and membership value and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is no reason why you can't do this for yourself and create your own brand, your own company. And when I finally, that moment was like an aha moment. Oh my gosh, I can totally do this. And then I said, well, what would you do if you were running your Chamber of Commerce? Well, I would have a grand opening and a ribbon cutting. I'd have an all-day women's conference and bring in fabulous speakers and swag bags and lunch and breakout sessions. And that's what I did, date, time, place. And it was amazing to see everyone there, and a ribbon cutting and a celebration. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could actually do this, So yeah, I think we just get in our own way, that fear of what are other people going to think. And it's so crazy, because I had a friend come up to me after that day, and she said to me, Carol, I didn't know you had it in you. And I thought, really? This is who I am. This is what I do. But I thought that was interesting. And I think it's because she did not know me in that space. She had not seen me in that light. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we have to step into that role of being the CEO of your company, or whatever title, whatever it is you're creating. We need to step into that role and be seen in that light, because that's who we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes trust also. Yeah, go ahead, Tonya.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got into international business because I took a chance and I went on this study abroad to China when I was studying my MBA. Now, I was scared as heck. You know, I had never flown that far, and you telling me it's a 15, 16-hour flight to China, and, you know, I'm going to be in a totally different environment and a different language, a different culture. I was afraid. I was scared to death. But what I learned and what I tell people, fear is okay and it's natural, it's normal. It's just that don't let the fear stop you. But it's going to be natural. Like I still have, you know, a little anxiety when I'm, you know, have to speak, and that's natural. Just don't let it stop you. And because I took that chance and I didn't let the fear get in my way, and I took that trip to China, it really broadened my horizon, opened up my mind to so many new possibilities and opportunities. And here I am now running a global consultancy, and I'm traveling all over the world. And you know, prior to COVID, of course, because after I came back from Egypt in March of last year, I haven't traveled, but definitely looking forward to getting back to travel. But I've made the most of this virtual world. And that's the other thing, being in business, you have to be able to adapt and you have to be able to pivot, because there's going to be some unforeseen things that's going to come up and that's going to happen that's out of our control. Nobody can control this virus. You know, we didn't expect it. But what you have to do is learn how to pivot and learn how to make the best of those bad situations. And I can tell you that I have probably met more people virtually. Like Carl said, we met through social media. I've probably met more people last year than I've met when I was traveling all over the world, just taking advantage of social media and just connecting with people all over the world. A lot of the women who I featured in my book, and I shared their story in my book, I had never met these women in person, haven't seen them in person, but just that connection through social media and them sharing their story. So it's just been a wonderful journey for me personally, and just overcoming those challenges, because the challenges are not gonna stop. It's gonna always be something. Once you get over one hurdle, there's another one and another one. So it's not about, and what I like to say, is not about how many times you fall down, but how many times you get back up.
I love
exactly.
that, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's incredible. I mean, I'm here because I met Angie through social media, and we're in the same network. And I mean, I agree with Antonio. I met so many people online this year. It's been growing your network. It's so easy. It takes less time than travel around. You can
and it's
go
cheaper. It's cheaper than the airfare and the hotel.
Exactly. I know. I've just embraced this virtual world, and I feel like for me, personally and professionally, there has been a silver lining in all of this. And it's crazy to think, you know, 4 years ago, I had this vision of creating an online chamber of commerce for women in business to, you know, bring education and resources and connect them to create, you know, opportunities. And but I struggled with the how do I do this? And then when COVID hit, I actually panicked, and I think for 2 weeks. And then I said, oh my gosh, this is go time. You know, we're going to have to embrace a virtual world, and look where we are today. So I think it's creating so many opportunities, really. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is.
Well, it looks like we only have about 40 seconds left.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you, Tonya, for sharing your
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you
for asking questions. And
yeah, I will check out your book. Definitely.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sounds wonderful.
And Marianne, thank you for joining our room.
You're on mute. She's on mute.
Yes, she is. Okay, we're gonna go back.
No problem.
So I love that, Grace. I'd love to hear from you if we go in a room together.
Yes, hopefully, yes.
All right, so what we have here, ladies, we're going to do one last round. Feel free to drop off if you have to. As always, the last 30 minutes is just getting to speed network, but we are well aware that it is evening, it is dinner time, it is nighttime, and business time for people all over the world. So feel free to drop off if you need to. Thank you everyone again for the speakers, everything you shared today. It was awesome. Thank you for your time, and also thank you for those just hanging out. There are fewer of us, so I am only going to create 3 rooms this time, and feel free to join whichever one you like. So they should be open, and feel free to pop in, and I'll be here in case you have questions about how to join. And it should be a button on the bottom right of your screen.